Every single person has a version of themselves they're trying to escape. For some people, it's the overweight kid, the bullied kid, the quiet kid, the weird kid. For me, it was the weak kid. And the scary part isn't that I was physically weak. It's that for years, I believed that's who I was. Not something I experienced, but someone I would always be. I don't think people realize how dangerous that is, because your identity quietly decides your future before you do. When I was in kindergarten, something happened that most people would probably forget after a week. I didn't. A group of kids were playing football. I stole the ball as a joke. One of the older boys grabbed me by the neck. I remember crying afterwards. But that's not the memory that stayed with me. The memory that stayed was the feeling powerless. Like there was nothing I could do. That moment lasted maybe 30 seconds. The identity it created lasted years. It wasn't the only time. Another day at school, a girl literally smeared manure across my face while we were gardening. Everyone laughed, and I just stood there. Looking back, people always ask, why didn't you do anything? Because when you're a kid, you don't respond with logic. You respond with the identity you've built. I already believed I wasn't someone who stood up for himself, so I didn't. It's funny. When people talk about trauma, they imagine huge, life-changing moments. Sometimes it's something so small, nobody else even remembers. But you do, because it changes the story you tell yourself. Mine became, I'm weak, I'm sensitive, I'm the kid people can push around. You don't realize it, but once you believe that, you start collecting evidence. Every awkward interaction, every embarrassment, every time someone talks over you, everything becomes proof. Years passed. Eventually, I started training. At first, I thought I wanted muscles. But if I'm being honest, I didn't want muscles. I wanted protection. I thought if I became stronger, I'd finally stop feeling like that little kid. And for a while, lifting weights actually helped. People treated me differently. I felt more confident. But something weird happened. Even when I looked stronger, sometimes I still felt like the weak kid inside. That's when I realized building your body is much easier than rebuilding your identity. Then someone entered my life. His name was, well, let's call him Mark. Well, Mark, he probably has no idea how much he changed me. He introduced me to self-improvement, business, purpose, the idea that life didn't have to look like everyone else's. Before meeting him, I thought adulthood meant get a job, pay bills, wait for retirement, and repeat. He completely destroyed that belief. For the first time, I had direction, not just goals, direction. And direction changes everything, because when you know where you're going, you stop obsessing over where you've been. Eventually, that friendship ended, and honestly, it hurt more than I expected. I went through one of the lowest periods of my life, but here's the strange part. Sometimes, the people who save your life aren't meant to stay in it forever. Maybe their job wasn't to walk the entire journey with you. Maybe it was just to point you towards the path. and then leave. Today, I still think about those moments from childhood. Not because they still control me, but because they explain me. They explain why freedom matters so much to me, why I care about becoming stronger, why I refuse to settle, why I want to build something meaningful. It's not because I'm chasing success, it's because I'm chasing someone, the version of me who believed he'd never become anything more than the weak kid. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this: your past is real, but your identity is negotiable. You don't wake up one morning as a different person. You become someone new. One decision at a time, one boundary at a time, one uncomfortable conversation, one workout, one risk, one act of courage, until eventually you look back and realize the person you spent years trying to escape isn't you anymore. I still think about that little kid sometimes, the one who cried after getting grabbed by the neck, the one who stood there while everyone laughed. If I could say one thing to him today, it wouldn't be, "One day you'll be strong." It would be, "You don't have to become someone else. You just have to stop believing the lie that you're powerless." Maybe that's what growing up actually is. Not becoming a new person, but finally giving yourself the protection he never had. I'll see you in the next one.